Many things that I've seen in Rwanda remind me of some of the things that I've seen in China. The Chinese government was asking this generation and all the generations alive today to change the course of human history, to take the denuded landscape that they had and somehow alter this. I'm going to present to you about a place which is called the Lus Plateau. It's in China. It's known as the most eroded place on Earth. And it is south of the Gobi Desert and the Mongolian steppe, and it's east of the high Tibetan Plateau.
I have to thank you especially to have access to come here to share your experience with us. I think it is important and it will be very, very helpful for our country.
What I have now, after seeing your film, I had actually already seen it. I think Dr. Bianik had sent it to a copy to us, and we were very appreciative. Is that it gives us hope that actually all is not lost. But what we need now, considering that we have lost time, is to start immediately.
I think that's what we should be doing. For us, is how can we go ahead? What is the way forward? How can we move on? We are convinced it is possible. We have tried it in small places.
Asking us, well, we're losing water. There are a number of places where the water levels are going down. And why is the water going down? And I think it's because of the alteration of the natural environment. So these 5 very important ecosystem functions were lost, and then they began to get them back. And so we wanted to share what we learned in Rwanda. Because the ecosystem had been disrupted, there was a cycle of flooding followed by droughts and then followed by famine. So without the vegetation, when the rain came down, it just washed everything away. But then the rest of the year was dry, and the people were very poor. So these are the 5 ecosystem functions that we looked at, that we learned about: biodiversity, soil stability, natural fertility, hydrological regulation, and carbon sequestration.
We have heard the story of what we are facing, the problems of electricity. The question of degradation in one part of the area is affecting the production area of our power system.
If you don't understand, it is very difficult to cooperate or to try something. So the thing Mr. Liu was saying for media, what is your contribution, is first to understand. And then when you understand, of course, you have this, the pen, the newspaper, the TV, the radios. You can play a good role in making people understand, change attitudes, and be willing to cooperate.
These are the people, and again, they were employed to join the project. And this seems to have become a method which can work. So in order to get them to stop doing unsustainable agricultural practices, they have to have an alternative to that. They have to be able to eat. They have to make a living. And so they need an alternative. So this gave them the alternative.
Taking us through this story, but which has a lot of lessons for us, and also gives us a new impetus on how to think of rehabilitating our ecosystems as well as eradicating poverty.
It's actually a comparative thing again. Like seeing the Western, the Chinese method of grazing, and again comparing with this African pastoralism. Which one is sustainable, and how do you measure sustainability as well?
So I'm saying, in principle, you are right, but there are country-specific circumstances which make really this good picture rather, well, I'm not saying difficult, but one has to be very, very careful in the way they implement them.
So this is the transition. This is the transition from 1995 when they began the terracing and the planting campaigns, and this is what it turned into in just 8 years. This is 2003, and we've been back in 2004 and 2005, and it just keeps improving. And what I see when I look at these pictures, and I've tried to understand exactly what's happened, what ecosystem functions were lost, and what is being regained here. And what this says to me now is that it's possible to rehabilitate large-scale damaged ecosystems, including the return of ecosystem functions.
And what we have to have is a body that is concerned in complete rehabilitation of the country through whatever means is available and assistance achievable, and work on it from A to Z.
So what I see is that it's possible to rehabilitate large-scale damaged ecosystems over a broad area, including the beginning of the return of ecosystem function. So if they maintain these policies, practices for decades and generations, then it's possible to imagine, because we've seen a massive change. So you had 400 generations where you had a consistent decline ecologically, and then you had in an intervention, you've got a change of the outcome. This means that point, understanding that point, is to understand the paradigm shift in human understanding and behavior.
See the importance of this film from two basic perspectives. One is, at least in this country, it is going to be a significant addition to people and institutions who have been trying hard to bring the agenda of natural resource management to the fore. That is an important contribution seen from that perspective. And the other importance is that it also proves the doubters that integrated land management is difficult to do. It shows that it is doable, provided that the necessary institutions, incentives, and investments are in place.